Calvin Mukman Bayt Allah, the heart of the believer is the house of Allah. Only those who are connected to Allah Almighty can see their Lord, can see the unseen. And that's why Allah Almighty raised them to be His Khalifas, human beings to be His Khalifas. And Allah Almighty wanted to demonstrate His power. And so He put an inspiration in the heart of Suleiman that he have a kingdom that no one else after him will have. And that he would have total dominion. Can you imagine that? Total dominion, but with justice. From the smallest to the highest. Shaitan worked for him. Shaitan had skilled people that worked for him. And Suleiman was always trying to teach the people the value of the human being, because that jinn who said he could stand up and bring Bilqis's throne within a twinkling of an eye, by the time they stood up, one who had knowledge, who was a human being, got it within a twinkling of an eye. Suleiman was always showing the distinction, always taking them back to Adam alayhi salam, to show the distinction of Allah Almighty giving the honor to human beings. When they brought the gifts and they saw that army, those servants went up and gave Suleiman the gifts, and Suleiman gave them back the gifts. He says, I'm not needing anything from you. Allah has given me everything. She can't bribe me. I'm the Khalifatullah. Allah is ordering her and ordering everyone to bow down to Allah Almighty through Islam. Total submission, that's what Islam means. Total submission to one's will, so Allah may work His will through us and not allowing Shaitan to stand in the way of that way. So Allah can establish His kingdom. He sent the gifts back. She said, he didn't take the gifts. She said, this is some kind of man here. So she decided to come. And already they had her throne. Her throne was with Suleiman alayhi salam. Because the one who had knowledge got her throne. When she got there, Suleiman said, you recognize this? She looked, she said, oh, it looks similar, but my throne is in my country. He said, look at it again. He said, it's very similar. So she was about from here maybe to the curtains there, and he invited her to sit with him. And as she started to walk, she pulled her hem of her skirt slightly so she wouldn't step in the water. But it was not water. It was glass. She says, oh my God. There is no God but Suleiman's God, and I bear witness and I submit my will to his Lord's will. So what I'm saying is this. We accept Islam and we say we're Muslim, but we don't have no power. We don't even know who we are. We are subjected by the clutches of Shaitan. Shaitan can stand in our way of our greatness, and it's acceptable to us, but it should be unacceptable. Two prophets ruled with domination all the way through. Suleiman alayhi salam and Zulkarnain. Whenever Allah Almighty send prophets, they bring down Shaitan's kingdom. And Suleiman was always training the people. The jinn don't worship the jinn. The jinn don't have no knowledge of the unseen. Anytime you see a shooting star in the sky, it's a jinn trying to steal some knowledge from the heavens. so they can come back and cheat the people and say, I know the future. And you see that light coming across the sky. That's a shooting star. No, that's a jinn. That's an angel chasing and killing that jinn before it hits the ground so it won't cheat nobody. We don't know nothing about ourselves. We walk around here proud, and Shaitan just takes total advantage of us. There's a reason why Allah Almighty allowed the Quran to be recorded, because the Quran was not needed for the Prophet and those Sahabas. It was a sign. Just like Pharaoh. The Pharaoh that was drowned in the sea. He is a sign. You can go to Egypt and go to the museum and still see Pharaoh laying up in his casket. His face, his nose, everything still intact. Allah says in Quran, I've left him as a sign. So people will know that he existed and not to be like him. Do not claim that you are Allah Almighty through your actions and allowing Shaitan to stand between you and your Lord. And we do it over and over and over again. When Allah Almighty sent beloved Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the current events were such that it was totally out of line with Allah Almighty's will. And he put it under Allah Almighty's will. Then when the people coming after the Prophet started to self-indulge, and yet they were raising up Africa, they were raising up Europe, the people started to take the material knowledge of Islam, the mathematics, the building, for building. At that time, there was a time when Columbus, you heard of Columbus in the books, and he traveled to the New World because everyone was saying the world was flat. But when he studied with the Muslims, he realized that the world was round. Islam has taught the whole world. It is still teaching the whole world. But Allah Almighty wants to establish His will through the people. So Allah Almighty will always raise up another people that will shut it down. There will not be any weapons that will be of any value to stopping them. There was a time when they wanted to destroy the Kaaba. And these people that wanted to destroy the Kaaba, they were riding on elephants. And Allah Almighty sent birds with hot clay, baked clay in their head and their mouths, beaks, to hit them in the head, to burn straight through their skulls. And those elephants would stop and go into prostration. When Allah Almighty wants Himself to be known, He makes Himself to be known. Takbir! Allahu Akbar! Takbir! Allahu Akbar! Takbir! Allahu Akbar! This is the time that Allah Almighty wants Himself to be known. We're looking to all our politicians. None of them are bringing us to Allah Almighty. They're saying, go to the people. The power's in the people. But the power's not in the people unless Allah is in the people. The people have rejected Allah, so they have no power. So they have to run as politicians and groups of people to put them in office. Then they find themselves, they still can't do nothing. A powerless president, any of them, not just the black one, all of them are powerless, because we still have the have and the have-nots. Allah Almighty will create a situation to see who can bring a solution to that situation without Allah Almighty. Then Allah Almighty will allow it to happen, and everybody going through all kind of trauma and drama. Then Allah Almighty will raise up people to come and solve the solution, the problem.